Welcome to our video series on how to buy the best flatbed. Today we're here to talk about flatbed accessories, bulkheads, toolboxes. We're going to jump into that right now. We're here to talk about bulkheads. So there's two main different types. We have our wraparound bulkhead, which is over here on the Mac. Behind me we have the flat bulkhead. With the wraparound, there are some different options as far as the return on the side. This particular model has a 10-inch return that can go up to a 24-inch return. Great application would be if you're running a side kit, sort of ties that in nicely and keeps everything contained within that flatbed. Either model can be DOT or non-DOT rated, so depending on what you need and how your truck's set up, you may or may not need that. With the flat bulkhead, you're not sacrificing any deck space, which is great. You can run pallets right up to the front. Also, some options with them is to have the corrugated metal or flat metal. Depending if you're doing a graphic, you may want to consider the flat as opposed to the corrugated. And ultimately, depending on what you need and how your truck's set up is going to determine really which one you go with. We're here to talk about toolboxes. So a lot of different configurations when it comes to toolboxes. You have your double door like we have here with the T-handle setup. You have single door, you can do stainless on the outside. Lots of different configurations. This one here is a 5-foot box mounted between the spread. We see that a lot with spread axle trailers. You can do it on driver's side, passenger side, both sides. In addition to between the spread, really anywhere along the flatbed that we can get one, we can put a toolbox in. There's different sizes depending on what you need to put in it and where it's located at. So on a drop deck, you would have a 18-inch toolbox, where this is a 24-inch toolbox. In addition to the T-lock style that we have here, there is a cam lock style toolbox, which really tightens that box up nice and has good durability. A little bit more of an upfront investment, but in the long haul, it's going to hold up better than your T-handles. In addition to toolboxes, dunnage racks are also a popular add-on that we do here, and there's multiple configurations with them as well. There's basket styles with no floor, there's ones with a floor in it, so you can maybe put a little bit more than just dunnage in it. There's ones that mount on the side, go across the trailer. We could basically get you a toolbox for it. We're here to talk about lift axles and rear axle dumps as well. So first we'll start with the lift axle, and the main thing to consider is which axle you want to lift. So this one is set up with a front axle lift. This is actually a bolt-on kit from Hendrickson, which is going to provide you about 3 to 4 inches of lift. There are some standalone lift axles which will get you a little bit more clearance, and some of the benefits of having a lift axle are, one, it's easier to pivot around when you're turning, so there's less tire scrub on a spread axle as you're turning, and if that axle's on the ground, those front tires are going to scrub and wear a lot faster than if you're pivoting on just the rear axle. Additionally, you can save money on tolls. You get charged more by the axle, so having a lift axle, if you're coming back empty, you can lift that up, pay less tolls. This particular kit here can be aftermarket, and you can retrofit it on basically any axle. So another thing to consider is how you want that set up. Most lift axles are going to come with a ball valve somewhere on the trailer to lift it up. In addition to that, we recommend running an electric lift up to the front if you have a switch in your truck. That way you don't have to get out to lift the axle. This particular model is a little unique. It has an air and cab setup, so there's actually an additional glad hand on the front, which is how it's lifted. And then as far as rear axle dumps, they're great options. They're typically electric operated. You can do a ball valve as well on them. With the electric lift axle on a flatbed like this, you can run it through your standard 7-way plug. The more options you have, though, we do recommend that auxiliary plug on the front, just so you can operate multiple switches. So there's a lot of things to consider with lift axles and rear axle dumps. You can do them on lift axles on both, or you can do a lift axle on the front and a rear axle dump on the rear. Overall, great way to help save on maintenance costs and toll costs as well. So we talked about a lot of popular options. On the front end, there's many other things that we can do to spec out a trailer. As far as different light configurations, filled in rears, we could look at additional lights. This one has 3 large, 3 small, 3 large. We could put strobe lights back here. We could do backup lights. We can add additional steps for driver safety. You don't need this filled in rear. We can shorten that bumper up and get rid of the filler plates. We can do stainless on the rear, tons of options. In addition to the rear end options, we could look at different types of fenders, custom fenders, and wide load lights. Depending on your application, we could basically figure something out to make sure that you're safe and have the trailer that you want. That wraps up bulkheads and accessories. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and follow us on our social media channels for more educational videos. I'm Dan Upschulte with Utility Keystone, and we'll see you again next time.